saying gonna do it by hospital bait?
I don't know. Doug didn't send me anything about.
I hit the button to go live, so.
Hello?
Hey Doug, just getting you live. You ready? You good to go?
I'm ready. Now you call me from the phone on the desk, right?
Yes. Hey Doug, this is Alicia.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so we're good? Okay. All right, one more minute. Okay. Call to order the October 11th, 2021 meeting of the Thomas County Planning and Zoning. Roll call is the first item on the agenda. Doug, do you want to do that? Do you want me to handle that?
Nope, I'll call.
Okay.
Commissioner Pitts?
Here.
Say again?
He's asking you if you're here.
Oh, yeah, hello. Yes.
He is present.
President of the
Okay.
county board, I'm sorry.
Chair McKinley?
Yes.
Commissioner Hilton?
Here.
Commissioner Beatty? Commissioner Dawson?
Here.
You have a quorum, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is adoption of the minutes from the September 13th meeting.
Yes, unfortunately, they were not prepared.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll skip that and come back to that for the next meeting. We'll pick those up on the next meeting. Item 3, old business. I'd like to move that to the bottom. If anybody has any issues with that.
I'll make a motion to, let's move item 3, old business, to the bottom of under C.
Yep.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. So the first item A of new business is an application for special exception, SPX 2021-10, Stan Pitts, 1400 Adams Ferry Road, parcel 038A 032. We have the report. Do we have anybody else signed up? I know
Yes.
Stan is here. Do we have, let's see, one of these. We got one of them. I don't know if anybody else is signed up for it. If you want to give me all of those, yeah, if you want to give me all those, if somebody else comes in, then I'll sign. Thank you. All right. So, Mr. Pitts, do you have any remarks for the Planning Commission?
I don't guess so. I watched one of these online last week to see kind of what I'd be going through, and I just want to thank y'all for having a hearing on it, see if we can move forward with it, so I can have some help adjacent to me while I'm working.
Absolutely, absolutely. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Pitts right now?
I don't have any questions.
What is your time frame?
It's been drug out for a while because my health didn't live close by, so I realize this can go a year, so I would at least be looking for the year. Because the house is framed up, windows are installed, we're putting a porch around it now. When I get the porch and the steps in, then we can go into the wiring phase, installation phase, and such as that, which will get moving along pretty good, but framing it by myself and such is pretty drawn out, as you can tell from the length of time that the building permit's been issued.
You plan to be done within a year of that?
We hope to be.
Okay. All right. Any other questions?
I don't.
No, I haven't.
No.
Okay, then we'll close the public hearing. Doug, do you have anything to add? We have your report. I know we don't have your presentation, but.
Right. If you'd like me to summarize the report as I usually do, or I don't have to do the summary, whatever you'd like.
Do you guys need any?
I don't.
I'm good with you.
No, I think we're good, Joel. I'm looking at Joel and talking to Doug.
Understood.
Okay, so do I have a motion?
I'll make a motion we accept.
Okay, with the 1 year?
With the 1 year, with the 1 year.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Appreciate it.
So it will go to the county commissioners.
Next month.
Yep.
All right, I appreciate it.
All right, let's see. The next item is application for subdivision variance, the H. Bruce Green Family Partnership, south of John B. Gordon Road, parcels 063001 and 003 and 0062020. With 5 lots. We have okay, I don't have anybody signed up for the Green subdivision. Do I have anybody here to speak on behalf of? Okay, okay. So we'll open the public hearing so that you guys can make your presentation. I'm sorry. Yeah. So can you state your name and address for us?
Nash Austin, 374 East Side Drive.
Okay.
So basically, this is similar to what we've done before. They have a large tract of land that's basically just used for a timber farm and recreation. They have the property is currently landlocked. They have a road they've maintained forever with I guess you could say prescriptive easement. They are in the process of getting actual deeded access, so it would be, on paper, no questions asked. And but basically, they need a private road in order to get all 4 of the pieces road frontage. So what we're proposing is a 60-foot wide strip right away. There'll be its own parcel that'll be owned by all 4 lot owners.
Yeah.
And the waiver they're requesting is to not have to pave the thing and do all the improvements to keep the area natural. So.
Okay. Thank you. Do we have anybody else that wants to speak? Okay. All right. Then we will close the public hearing for this special exception. Do I have any questions to Austin on behalf about this first? Anybody have any questions
don't.
as far as?
Not yet.
No? Okay. Doug, can you, on this one, can you kind of walk us through your take on this, your proposal on it, or your review on this?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
I'll take you through the staff report. The critical things, as you recall from some of these earlier reviews, you'll see highlighted the waivers and the approvals that are required through this process, primarily because of the new road that is required. This doesn't qualify as a minor subdivision. This is a traditional regular subdivision. However, of course, there are a number of waivers and approvals that are being asked for here. So we'll go through the written report, and what we'll highlight is where I've numbered the comments or questions, highlighted waivers that are being asked for. Number 1, we're just stating that the waivers being requested are to road design and access, as discussed later in the report, and you're very familiar with this. You've seen this with some of the other requests that we've had. Then going over to page 2, There are some comments that I would ask that whether you approve tonight or approve with conditions tonight, that you also require completion of some of these inquiries. It's not unusual for me to ask for an augmentation to the legend that there's some things missing. There was at least one symbol missing, and that was unpaved road. On to comment 3, one of the significant roads, because of the situation with this particular subdivision, we really do need to see in that sketch where John B. Gordon Road is. So I would ask for any other landmarks, including John B. Gordon, be added to that sketch. That's that small drawing that is on the one page. It sort of shows you in the context of the rest of the area where the subdivision is. Then we go down to comment 4. We don't have the floodplain mapped, and that's something we always ask, that when there is floodplain on the property, that be included on the plat. And there's significant on this property. Still on page 2. One.
Doug?
Yes,
Okay, you're starting to break up on us. I'm sorry, we got the part about the floodplain.
Okay, so we're on to number 5 at the bottom.
Yes.
Okay, that's where we have a number of easements. You'll see it's very voluminous, all those sketches that you got, all of the plats, but there are a number of easements there. There's one that's called the Nrcs Easement, and there's no explanation for folks to understand what that is, so we ask that they include the Nrcs Easement description of what that is. You'll see that labeled near the river frontage that's on the property. Okay, now we're moving to page 3. And this is where we mentioned the first waiver. And this is a critical issue. This is a preliminary plat in that not everything is completed. And I guess I would ask of the applicant, one of the things that we were looking for being submitted by tonight was a signed easement agreement that led this property, or an easement to John B. Gordon. Do we have that legal easement yet?
We have verbal, but it's not all, I's are not dotted and T's crossed. But
Can you hear that? Could you hear?
No, it's not.
He said they have verbal, but they don't have it yet in writing. It's not completed.
All right. Well, then it's very good that this preliminary plat request, basically, I think you'll have the option either to approve it tonight as a preliminary request, or if you want to continue this public hearing until you get that written document that has a legal recorded easement. And we're sort of jumping ahead a little bit here, but not much. And one of the significant issues here is access. The property does not have direct access onto a public street in any way, shape, or fashion. So because of the length that this property has been this way, the access point has been across somebody else's property, but apparently it was basically a handshake easement. And of course, for purposes of approving a plat like this, we, the county, need something more substantial than that. We need something legal that is recorded. All right, so that's the waiver 1 there, is we're going to be seeking the legal easement, something paperwork that apparently we do not have for tonight, but that's the first waiver we'll be considering. Then further down on page 3, the second waiver, the road, and this is similar to the other subdivisions you've reviewed where they don't want to pave the road. It's not going to be the minimum pavement. It's not going to meet county standards. They want to have the rural character. And so that's going to be one of the waivers that you're being asked to consider, and we'll have to have votes on, if not at this meeting, a future meeting. All right, on to an approval that you're very familiar with. They propose a road name. When it comes to subdivision, the Planning Commission has the obligation to approve any new road names, and this is the one, Barn Road. So it would be one vote tonight. Future is to continue this meeting until another time as consideration of that Pole Barn Road name. At the bottom of page 3, we have the third waiver, And that is another issue you're familiar with, is no cul-de-sac or anything similar is being proposed at the end of the street, Pole Barn Road. So something that is required in the design, and they're asking for the waiver. And then over on page 4, you've got the second approval, and that is the overall approval of the road, because private roads are only permitted by the vote of the Planning Commission approving a private road. Otherwise, it's got to meet those public road standards. So that would be the other approval that you would consider tonight. So those are the waivers and the approvals you're being asked to consider. Because you don't have that legal easement in the paper form, legal recorded, that would be
I think we just lost him. Let me try to get him back on here.
Which one is it?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
I can hear you.
Okay. We lost you there for just a second, for a few minutes.
Okay.
Okay, you were talking about without having the
Easement.
easement in place yet. And that's kind of where we lost you.
Okay, we go back to that.
After the approval too,
After approval to...
which is on page 4.
Okay, gotcha. And basically that's the end of the remarks. I think that the Planning Commission has two options. Again, either review this tonight and consider it just the preliminaries, and that's acceptable, that not everything is wrapped up and final, so you could expect we want to take. And then that means by final plat, every of these questions have to be answered, the question has to be submitted, or you can choose to continue and satisfied at your next meeting. The two options is either some approval tonight but not preliminary plat, or just, well, this is preliminary, not final yet, and we'll go ahead and approve the preliminary, and then we'll see what final plat stage where these things will be wrapped up.
Okay. Any questions that you guys have for Doug? John?
No, okay.
Joe?
I don't have.
No? Okay. All right. No questions for you, Doug, so let me ask, do I have a motion of how we want to handle this? We've got a lot of pieces that are still outstanding.
Well, until we get something right on the easement, then we're pretty much at an impasse, I guess. Well,
Yeah.
he says as far as the county needs that in place before anything else is going to roll forward. Basically, I guess that's what I'm understanding, that we need that in writing, and not just a gentleman's agreement. I understand that. But,
Right. So,
I don't know what.
Doug, should we just reopen the public hearing and leave that open and continue this till the next meeting?
If you would like to do that, that is an option.
Do we think that some of the issues on this report will be resolved on the plat answers to some of this?
Right.
By the next meeting.
His notes about the added thing on the ledge and all that stuff can be cleaned up, no problem. You know, I guess what my client would like now is hopefully approval for us to continue working on this, knowing that we don't have the access easement on paper. So I think we're kind of seeking some kind of conditional improvement based on the fact that we're going to get that.
Okay.
So they'll have the confidence that we're going to be able to continue on this path.
Okay. And what work are you guys doing right now? Where are you at in this process? And where do you want to go in the next month?
We'd like to try to get it wrapped up. I mean, we have the interior lines and things we have to do, and if we can't do it a certain way, then I've advised them us not to go to spend a lot of time doing it this way. So that's kind of where we're at. Just waiting to get that approval so we can take off.
Okay. Joel, Don, Jim?
I'm making a motion to table to next month.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Hang on here. So I need to go back and open the public hearing
Keep it open.
to
till next
continue
month.
to next month.
Right.
Do I have a motion?
Make a motion.
Second.
All in favor of tabling it for next month, keeping the public hearing open?
Can I ask, on the approvals, I guess would be no reason we couldn't approve the road name that's in the approval one, or I don't know if that's going to matter one way or the other, where it's done now or later. But the waivers,
Yeah. Yeah, Doug, I don't think there's anything,
I don't know if it's a big deal one way or
That's-
the other, because everything
if
else
we,
is on
if we
hold.
group the road name into a continuation for next time, that really doesn't have any effect on anything else, correct?
That's correct. You could do those approvals tonight, and that wouldn't matter for the rest of it.
Okay. So do you guys want to go back on that?
I don't see any need to.
Okay. Okay. So we will continue it to the next meeting. If you can get information for the questions, the outstanding issues to planning and zoning prior to that meeting, so that when we come back for next month's meeting, we have all of that in place. Hopefully we can go forward with that meeting and get all of those taken care of at one time.
Since the public hearings are back open, can we ask,
Sure.
is there a particular reason why you would not want to put in a cul-de-sac, just to eliminate that from the waiver? That
Oh, okay. Can I just give you a little background? Would that be all right? So,
Sure. Can you state your name?
I'm Kathy Ashbury. I'm a family member of the H. Bruce Green Family Partnership. We have had this land in our family since the 1950s. Our grandfather had it, our dad had it, and now we've inherited it. He died in 2009. And we're just trying to divide it, mostly so one of us is going to die and our children aren't in the middle of a chaotic mess. We want to keep it wilderness. We want to keep it recreation for hunting and fishing and timber production. So we really don't need a cul-de-sac. The only vehicles that are on the farm are ATVs.
So no one's looking to build anything?
No.
You're basically just trying to split this land so the family can say, okay, this is your lot, this is your
So
lot, this
we
is your
don't
lot,
have-
when
thank
everybody
you.
dies.
Yes, Mr. Dawson, exactly that. We're just trying to get it done, be proactive. We have no intention of selling, we have no intention of a subdivision. The nearest electricity is like a mile away. So there's so many easements on it already. We have conservation easement. The Nrcs has, the government bought the river easement, so all of them down the river, 75 acres belongs to the government. You know, we have the right to use it and enjoy recreation. But there's a Georgia Power track that goes across it, there's a gas line that goes across it. We had absolutely no idea that we did not have legal access to this road, because we've maintained it since the 1950s, my grandfather did. It's part of that larger Green Acres. If you're from here, you're probably familiar with that. That was 8,000 acres originally. We're the grandchildren. We're just trying to do right by our family, honestly.
Okay.
So,
That makes sense to me. Thank you.
Any other questions?
I don't know.
Okay. Okay.
Before,
sure.
Before that,
Yeah.
I just wanted to, if we could get an understanding if we're gonna need a cul-de-sac, if we can get approval on these things, then I can move forward for the next meeting. And I'll go ahead and have the preliminary plat updated showing those things.
I'm okay with the waiver.
I mean, I'm okay with not having a cul-de-sac as long as there's no homes.
Yeah.
Now, if there's ever a structure built on it that requires emergency services, that's my thought.
I agree completely.
But-
In the conditions it's in right now, yeah, I don't see it.
Yeah, but that would be something we would put in
As a condition.
as a condition to that. Okay?
And the other waiver is the road, waiver 2.
Yeah, I don't,
So basically, we're continuing it because we don't have the written easement.
right,
For
that's
that.
right, that's right. That's right.
And, so that would be that's the holdup.
That's the holdup.
That's the holdup, because
is the
the
easement.
county needs that legal, written easement on it. Yeah, that's the
So we
holdup. The rest,
anticipate having it tonight, which is why.
the rest of it's a conditionals that I don't think is an issue, that we couldn't approve with the conditions that if
Right.
it's ever built, something's built on it, then it would have to be adjusted. So that's the reason continuance, because we need that. The county's got to have that.
we were very surprised we didn't have the legal access to it. And we want to protect each other.
It's not our father had it. I mean, it was a shock to us to find out our father had never had it. I mean, he had a handshake agreement.
Mhm.
I understand.
So anyway,
You would-
it's
you would be-
Kathy Ashbury and Paula Harden and Lisa Stewart.
And we have a brother in Albany.
Harvey Green.
You would be surprised how many pieces of property don't have, or have handshake agreements in this
Well,
county.
it's shocking. I mean, we have 4 that we deal with. Our next generation is 13. And it goes from age 16 to age 42. And they're not going to be, they just won't, there's too much age difference, they're different families. This is something we have to resolve before it ever gets to them.
I can appreciate that.
I have one question. If I understand correctly, you've told me and the planning commission that you never intend to have a structure of any type on any of this property, is that correct?
And the river, we cannot anyway, we can't
I
have anything
understand.
pumping it
I
down. There's
understand.
no electricity. I know people can do anything, but we don't have that kind of money. So honestly, we have no desire to build homes there at all.
Is that your question, that will there ever be a home built on the property?
Yes, essentially. Well, the terminology I used was structure. I understood early on that there will never be anything built on any of these lots that you propose.
We have existing pole barns and
I
things like
understand that.
So you're
That's
talking-
existing, if I understood, yes. I understand that.
Well, okay, so there's existing structures, i.e. the pole barn. So you're asking, will there be any more existing structures put on the property?
Well,
Additional pole barns, that kind of
yes,
thing?
yes, that's my question. Well, do you anticipate that you will build anything else on
You know
any
what?
of these 5 lots?
I will have a shed to put my Polaris under, to keep it out of the weather. Just for the purpose of transparency, and to be honest,
Yes, ma'am.
I will be doing that, yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
But no, like Kathy said, we don't have electricity back there, and the mosquitoes are terrible, and the closest thing we have that looks like a cul-de-sac off a private road is a deer food plot.
We can't
You know,
build
we're
on
just
the river
raising
because
trees.
it's in
I
a
understand what
conservation.
you're saying.
So anything that anybody would be interested in, they can't do. I mean, we have a perpetual
Mhm.
use of it, but you could never develop it.
You have agreements that
Mhm.
oppose
But
that.
it needs
Yes, I
to, yes.
understand, I
You
understand.
can never develop it.
Thank you.
our appraiser said it's only really good for recreation and timber production.
Yes, ma'am. That's all I have.
Okay. All right, so we will continue this to the November meeting. Once you get, as soon as you get the information that we're missing, if you would get that to planning and zoning ahead of the meeting so that it can get distributed to us prior to the meeting. Okay? All right. Thank you, guys.
Thank you all.
Okay, item C is the application for subdivision variance, Smith Acres LLC, Highway, Plantation 74 subdivision, Yatesville Highway, State Route 74 at the Monroe County line, parcel 111012. It's 9 lots. Do I have anybody here? I don't have anybody signed up for that. I don't have anybody here for that.
I'm also available to speak on this one
Okay.
somewhat.
All right, let me put your name down, Austin Nash.
I was retained by Mr. Smith today.
Okay, Doug, are you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Okay. All right, so we will open the public hearing for this. Do you have any comments on behalf of Mr. Smith? Don? We got
Y'all just,
Austin's here to speak on behalf of Matt Smith.
I think the only comment that he would like to be made clear really is that the comments about the 911 and stuff servicing these lots. He's been informed that that's done with GPS now. You know, basically, I guess if they get a call, it will come Monroe and Upson will be responding if it's on the line. What's going to be, you know, some of these lots apparently are split across the Monroe and Upson County line. And so I think we want to make sure that everyone knew that 911 is done with GPS now. They're going to burn that in if a house gets built. And also, they plan to have the county line marked really well, where the affected lots are. And if the person chooses to build their home in Monroe County, then they will be getting their permit from Monroe. And if they choose to build their home on the Upson County side, then they will be getting their permit from us.
Has he talked to Upson County and Monroe County 911?
Yes. And you also request to maybe receive a letter from his surveyor. Doug may know about that.
Oh, yeah, it's on the back, yeah.
So that may be a more detailed description of what I'm trying to get across here.
Okay. Okay. All right. Any questions anybody have for Austin?
I don't.
No.
Okay. Joel, do you have any questions?
I don't have.
Okay.
All of, excuse me, I will. All of these front on 74 highway with the exception of 2.
Yes.
Is that 9 and 8?
Right.
They do have access from 74.
Right, they all have access.
Okay. Anything else? Okay. All right. Then we will close the public hearing. Doug, can we get your staff report?
Yes, this is a very brief one. You'll see it's just 2 pages, and then the letter that was referenced, you do have the copy of that, so you can read what their answer is. Basically, we've got 2 variances from the requirements of the ordinance. One is it appears that we've had sales of the property before the plat was approved. There are signs that say sold on it, so that was one issue that we've got, is that, you know, you're not supposed to sell these lots because you don't know whether you've got approval of the subdivision or not. The bigger and long-term issue is, are we going to allow, in this case and other cases, lots to be divided by county lines? This is an original part of the 2000 adoption of the subdivision ordinance. Did have a call into Monroe County, and I never did get a call back, but it was my understanding they don't really have a subdivision ordinance. I was told that they did approve basically their half or their part of this, but that's without an ordinance to give them any guidance. I did research to try to find their ordinance, and I couldn't find one. That's why I phoned them, and to verify that, again, they don't have a subdivision ordinance. I never did get an answer to that. However, our issue is what's going on in Upson County and our regulations. And our regulations are pretty clear that you don't divide a lot. And I think, you know, the reasons are referenced in Mr. Johnson's letter, but what he seems to dismiss, we don't dismiss. I think there's all sorts of public service coordination. There could even be delivery problems with the private sector, whether it's a UPS or something similar to that. And maybe in the beginning, well, we talked to everybody and they understand, and it's worked out now. But, okay, those people leave. It may or may not be something that we could put into a computer, and now we've got a whole new set of people, new employees come in, and it's like, wait a minute, why is this way? Why is it in this county? I just think it's a problem. It's a bunch of potential conflicts and issues that not just short-term but long-term cause the problem. And obviously this was the thought behind the ordinance adopted in 2000 that did not allow these to occur. So I would request that you deny the variance, and I think that if you look at the plat that you've got, there are any number of ways that those lots could be reconfigured to either place the lot fully on the Monroe County side of the line or fully on the Upson County. Now the difficulty may be that a road is going to have to be constructed. Now whether they come back and ask for a to-code and up to standard county road facility, that's up to them, or if they come back and ask for private road, that's up to them, and then we can consider that at that time. But if you look at that plat, I think you can imagine a configuration of lots that puts them fully in one county or fully in the other county, yes, with the addition of a road, and that all those problems don't occur. All those potential conflicts and misunderstandings don't occur by having part of a lot in one county and part of a lot in the other county.
Okay. Any questions for Doug? Any for discussion?
No, I don't have a question.
How will you mitigate county tax on that property? How's that gonna work out here?
I don't know how that would work out. I assume it'd be prorated to both somehow.
So is all of this,
I believe there's quite a few farms in the area that are half and half, you know, so I assume there's a protocol.
so today, is this entire tract of land in conservation use? Doug, do we know that?
I'm aware, I don't know.
Are you aware of any conservation use on it?
I'm not. I'm aware that the taxes are probably low. This is going to turn into, you know, probably $200,000+ homes, and going to help with the tax base.
But Upson County would only get part of that on that piece of property. Right?
Correct.
That's confusing. Is there a better, Doug stated that he thought there was a better way to do that, but would you expound on that?
I have not spent enough time. I got the Cliff Notes version today, and I haven't spent enough time to comment on that. I guess his surveyor is not available today. So.
Can you bring us back some information on that?
Sure.
Okay. That sounds good.
So basically, they just split the land up without consulting. I know, in the past, I spoke with Doug on some property being split up, and if it's gonna be broken up into 3 or more lots, then it does require a review, an administrative review. It doesn't necessarily have to come to us, but it would require administrative review. The variance is where we end up 2 different counties and, in the middle of that, which creates a situation.
So this 70 acres of this today is in Upson County, according to tax assessors, and it shows it as part of a 10-year land covenant agreement, conservation use. So that's 70 of the 89 acres, I think it is. All right. Okay, so, do I have a motion? I know you said something about continuing. Do I have a motion? What?
I think definitely we need to continue this. I really do. I think we need more information. And I see a problem with that county line split. You can't build a house on this part of it because there's not enough property. You can't build a house on the other side of it because perhaps some other litigation of some sort. So I'm a little apprehensive about this.
Okay. All right, do I have a motion?
Okay, well, I'm gonna ask this, what we will continue, why are we continuing? What's the purpose of continuing, to get more information on how this is gonna be, how this would be split up for us?
Well, essentially what we would continue the public hearing, right? We're not.
Correct. We would open the public hearing back up and continue that,
Yes.
but we need to
What we
put
expect-
questions out
what we're
there for what we
expecting.
expect to come back
Yeah,
with.
if we're
them to
gonna,
come
if we
back with.
continue, then I wanna know what we're expecting them to bring it back to us.
And then we need to give specific questions of what we want
Right.
coming
right.
back.
That's where I'm at.
I guess my question on this, my thoughts on this, I shouldn't say questions, but my thoughts on this is, if 70 of these 89 acres today are in conservation use, yes, we are better off as a county, tax-wise, to break these up. Because
Yes.
none of these will be in conservation use,
Right.
except for possibly 9 and 8, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay? So from a tax standpoint, Upson County gains. I get the whole 911 issue. I think we need understanding of, and maybe we need someone from 911 in Upson County here to answer questions about how that would work.
And I'm looking at the layout on the tracks, like 4, 5, 6, 7 would not be a buildable lot in Upson County. It'd be a buildable lot in Monroe County.
Correct.
As far as that, 6 and 5 and 6 probably could be a buildable lot in Upson County on the back part of it. 4, I don't know without taking some, trying to get some kind of better scale on it, where you would actually be able to build with, within the setbacks and restrictions for building on that property. Whether it would be well, it's 3.5 acres in Upson County.
It's 3.5 acres in Upson County, so there's plenty of.
As long as there's setbacks.
That's right.
There's enough
That's right.
room in the setbacks on the width of the property, it could be built in Upson County. So,
Correct.
so you got, all the lots are buildable in Upson County except one lot.
Correct.
except tract 7.
Seven.
So Upson County would gain the
Majority,
majority of the
the-
tax base
From the homes that are
from the
built
homes that
on
would
there.
be built on it.
Correct.
Only one would not be a buildable Upson County. Everything else Upson County would increase their tax revenue by splitting it up if we just had some answers on the, I guess, what Doug's worried about, the 911 issue
And I understand, having all of them front on 74. I mean, that's a definite plus,
absolutely.
for that. So do I have a motion to, continue the public hearing and request that, Upson County, he have somebody from Upson County 911 at the next meeting,
To answer.
to answer the questions. And maybe Mr. Smith be here, or somebody that, not that any fault of yours, you're just a substitute, you're a pinch hitter here tonight, but, that can answer some questions as well off of that. Doug, are you?
Absolutely, we can try to get 911 there and anybody that might be a responder through 911.
Correct.
I mean, that's the only real issue that's up in the air with you right now, is that right? Because pretty much
I mean, that's the biggest, I understand we've got an ordinance that's out there. To be honest with you, I never knew we had one that was out there, and I don't really understand why it is, other than if it's something that's not very explicit as to how it works with emergency services and stuff like that. To me, emergency services is what I focus on.
that's the only issue of this, because everything else makes sense for us to allow it to be split up for us taxing in Upson County, for tax revenue in Upson County.
Okay. So do I have a motion?
I think Joel made a motion to continue. I read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
With those stipulations that will, okay, second.
Second.
Okay.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so we will continue, leaving the public hearing open. If we can make sure that, those people are available for the next meeting. Okay? All right, thank you. All right. Okay, going back to number 3, old business, the tiny home ordinance, public hearing. Everybody has their new ordinance, the latest. We have no one signed up to speak for that. So we will close the public hearing, or I guess I should open it first. We will open it and then we will close it. Doug, do you have anything to add about the tiny homes ordinance? We lost him again. There. I think I saw how you did it before. Wonder how long he's been gone.
May have dozed off.
All right, I guess I'm back.
Oh, welcome.
I guess so. We didn't know that we lost you. Sorry.
That's all right.
Okay. Tiny homes. There's no one for the public hearing, signed up for the public hearing. So we opened and closed that.
Okay.
Do you have any, anything to add to, we all have the ordinance in front of us?
No, I think it's what we've discussed. You understand that they'll be permitted in the manufactured home parks, mobile home parks. They'll be allowed in something designated a tiny home park, very similar to the RV park language. I did recently, a citizen asked me what's our definition of a tiny home, so we need everybody to understand it's not anything built on a sea. It's got to be built to permanent home standards, ICC codes, state of Georgia codes as they adopt and mature their tiny home building requirements. And the size in Upson County will be no smaller than 220 square feet and no larger than 400 square feet. So that we got our definition. Other than that, those are the highlights, the most important points.
Okay. Any questions, any comments?
I make my recommendation, we pass it on to the county commissioners.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, 4-0. Did you get that, Doug?
I did, 4-0, correct. We'll take that on to the Board of Commissioners.
Yep. Okay. All right. Other business, item 5, introduction of new code enforcement officers, Jeff Dean and Greg Napier. Welcome. Thank you guys for coming tonight. Don't be strangers. Come visit us. Doug, do you have anything to add?
No, I know that you've had concerns in the Planning Commission about code enforcement, and we did have a little lack there where our last officer left, but had already been authorized for the second officer, and these two have hit the road running as best as they can and learn along the way. They've already been to their first professional conference to learn their jobs a little bit better, so we are very happy with the distance that they have come so far, and I think we can look forward to very good work in the Code Enforcement Office. And any ideas or anything that you want to suggest to me, I can certainly take that forward to our new Code Enforcement officers, and we do realize how important it is to the community and to the Planning Commission, and they have definitely taken their job seriously.
Awesome. Well, welcome, guys. Thank you. Item number 6, Planning Commissioner issues and announcements. Anybody have anything?
The training sessions they mentioned coming up, is there?
Training sessions, I think if I remember correctly, October 25th is the deadline for registering for the 102 class. I'm trying to work out my work schedule, so I'm hoping to have that worked out by this Friday. Or no, by Friday week, the 22nd.
Excellent. And what I can do is, if I've got confirmation, and Commissioner Doss confirming that he wants to go, right?
Yes.
All right, and I know that Commissioner Beatty also wants to go to this, and obviously we don't know what his situation will be at the time of the class, but we'll certainly get whoever wants to go registered and signed up for that. I can start on that Friday, apparently.
Yeah, Friday, I'll know before the 22nd. Not this coming Friday, not this week, but next week.
Okay. Well, we'll get Commissioner Dawson signed up, and we'll work on yours and Commissioner Beatty as we find out about him.
Doug, I'll confirm with you dates for sure by the time Alicia does too. I think
very good.
I think everything's gonna be good, but let me confirm too.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Okay, item 7, Secretary's issues and announcements. Do you have anything additional?
Nothing new. Just thank you for indulging me when I've got my own issues, and allow me to participate this way in the meeting.
Absolutely, absolutely, not a problem. Now you get to see kind of how we navigate this on our end.
Yep.
Okay, anything else?
You know, I'd just like to say, if Sam is watching or whatever, we just hope he speedily gets well.
Absolutely,
I hope he gets to feeling better where he can join us.
absolutely. I second that.
Yeah, I tried to call him a couple of times, but he didn't call back, so I figured he just didn't want to come, didn't want to talk to him.
Good deal. Well, hopefully he's feeling better sooner rather than later. So, all right. If no objections, we will adjourn.
I'm for it.
All right. Then we are adjourned.